names of Krishna, describing Krishna's different qualities, his different pastimes. It's very, very sweet. And it's usually sung in Vrindavan at our Krishna Balaram temple every morning. So for those of you who have been there, it'll be a reminder. On the first page, you just hit Vibhavarishish on the right side. Yes, okay. So, Premamrita will read the English translation so we understand the verse we're singing, and then we'll sing that verse.
The night has come to an end, and the light of dawn is entering. O Jiva's soul, arise and give up your sleep.
And the next one also.
Chant the holy names of Lord Hari, who is the giver of liberation, the enemy of the Murda demon, the supreme enjoyer, the all-attractive one, and the horse-headed incarnation, Hayagriva.
Vibhavarishesha aloka pravisha nirachari utajiva. Bolo Hari Hari Mukunda Murari Rama Krishna Hayagriva.
Lord Hari Krishna incarnated as the half-man, half-lion Nrsimha. He appeared as a dwarf Brahman named Upendra and is the killer of the Madhu demon. He is the beloved son of the king of Vraja, Nanda Maharaj, and is blackish in complexion. He is the slayer of the Putana witch and the destroyer of the demon Kaitava. All glories to Lord Hari, who appeared as Lord Ram, the son of King Dasarath.
Narasingha Vamana Shri Madhusudana Brajendra Nandana Shama. Putana Ghatana Kaitava Shatana Jaya Dasharati Rama.
He is the darling of Mother Yashoda, the giver of pleasure to the cows, land, and spiritual senses, and the protector of the cows. He is the lord of the Vrindavan forest, the gopis' beloved, the lover of Radhika, and the most beautiful personality in all the worlds.
Yashoda Dulala Govinda Gopala Vrindavana Purandara. Gopi Priya Jana Radhika Ramana Bhuvana Sundara Bara.
As Ramachandra, he brought about the end of the demoniac king Ravana. As Krishna, he stole the older gopis' butter. He stole the younger gopis' clothes while they were bathing in the Yamuna. He is a cowherd boy of Vraj and the protector of the cowherd boys. He steals the hearts of all and always holds a flute.
Ravananta Kara Makana Taskara Gopi Jana Vastrahari. Rajera Kalam Gopa Vrindapala Chitahari Bhamshidhari.
Lord Krishna is worshipped by the best of yogis and is the son of Nanda. He removes all the fears of the inhabitants of Vraja. He is the color of a fresh rain cloud and his form is enchanting. When he wanders about playing his flute, he looks very charming.
Yogindra Bandhana Shri Nandanandana Prajajana Bhayahari. Navina Nirada Rupa Manohara Mohana Bhamshi Bihari.
He is the son of Yashoda and the killer of King Kamsa, and he sports in the rasa dance among the groves of Vraja. Krishna engages in this rasa dance underneath the Kadamba trees, and he resides in the forest of Vrindavan.
Yashoda Nandana Kamsa Nisudana Nikunjara Savilasi. Kadamba Kanana Rasa Parayana Brinda Vipina Nivasi.
He increases the ecstasy of his devotees. He is the reservoir of all love and is the transcendental Cupid who uses his flowered arrows to increase the loving desires of the gopis. He is the pleasure of the gopis' hearts and the abode of all wonderful qualities.
Ananda Vardhana Premaniketana Pula Shara Jojoka Kama. Gopangana Gana Chitta Vinodana Samasta Guna Gana Dhamma.
Lord Krishna is the life of the river Jamuna. He is always absorbed in amorous pastimes, and he is the moon of the gopis' minds, which are like the chikora birds that subsist only upon moonlight. O mind, Obey these words of mine and sing the glories of Sri Krishna in the form of these holy names, which are full of nectarian mellows.
Jamuna Jivana Keli Parayana Manasa Chandra Chakora Jamuna Jivana Keli Parayana Manasa Chandra Chakora Namasudhayasta Gau Krishna Jasha Ratko Vachana Manamora Namasudhayasta Gau Krishna Jasha Ratko Vachana Manamora Sudaya Saga Krishna Jasa Nako Vachana Manamora Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare 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 Ram, Ram Ram, Hare 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 Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare 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 Ram, Ram Ram, Hare 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 Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare 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 Ram, Ram Ram, Hare 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 Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Jaya Krishna Balaram, Krishna Balaram, Krishna Balaram, Jaya Krishna Balaram. Jaya Krishna Balaram, Krishna Balaram, Krishna Balaram, Jaya Krishna Balaram. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Shri Krishna Janmashtami ki jai, Shri Krishna Balaram ki jai, Shri Radha Sham Sundar ki jai, Shri Gaudita ki, Gaura Premanande, Hari Hari Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Please chant together. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Ashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu. Translations. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances unto the personality of Godhead, Narayan, the supermost human being, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author. By regular attendance in classes on the Bhagavatam, and by rendering of service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed. Loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. Jai. Okay. Good morning, everybody. Honored and joyful to be here with all of you this morning. So briefly, I wanted to share about why Krishna comes, how he comes, and that he presents in Bhagavad Gita. And then we can read a little bit of God Who Dances, which beautifully elaborates the birth pastime, the appearance pastime of Lord Krishna. So I was thinking of this class as like a burfi sandwich. Someone was just telling us like that in Alachua. You get 2 burfis and you put sandesh in the middle. What's that? We got this beautiful sweet bhajan we just sang about the names of Krishna. At the end, we'll hear the beautiful pastime of Krishna's appearance. And in between, we get to hear Krishna's wonderful explanation of why he comes into this world. And just to preface this, I was thinking how amazing it is that we have access to this knowledge. So think about it. In other spiritual traditions that you may have grown up in, or you may have learned about, what knowledge do they have about why God comes to this world, how God comes to this world, what to speak of who is that person who comes to this world? We have such infinite, unlimited, amazing details about all of this. And this is only in the 4th chapter of 18. Krishna begins to share with us the transcendental nature of his appearance. And there's a succession of verses here in which Krishna gives it all very succinctly. He's so eloquent that in just a few verses, he's able to perfectly explain when he comes, why he comes, how he comes. So there's a famous verse, probably many of you know, which explains when he comes. How does that verse go? Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata abhyutanam adharmasya tadatmanam srujamyaham. So he says, whenever and wherever there's a decline in religious practice and a predominant rise of irreligion, at that time he descends. Whenever and wherever. And we understand that Krishna appears all over. In every different universe he appears again and again, had himself and in his different expansions and empowered incarnations like Srila Prabhupada, Lord Jesus Christ, because he's longing to bring all of the jivas in this world back to him. And then he gives more detail why he comes. He says, Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya chadushkritam dharma samstapanartaya sambhavami yuge yuge. He says to protect the pious and to eject the evil-minded. I was thinking, anyway, I was trying to be poetic. To protect the pious, to eject the evil-minded, he comes, and also to reestablish the principles of religion. So millennium after millennium, each age Krishna comes. Satya, Dwapara, Treta, Kali. Again and again he comes for these purposes. But he doesn't actually have to come to eliminate those who are burdening the earth. He can do that easily with his many expansions. He's so unlimited that he's able to do that. But he wants to come so he can be with his devotees and so he can protect them when they are in distress. So these are a few verses. This one will go into a little bit of detail and hear Prabhupada's commentary. And it's an amazing verse. So it should give us impetus today to try and understand, to pray that Krishna will reveal to us a little bit of the transcendental nature of his appearance in this world and his activities in this world. It can be hard to understand. Okay, we see pictures of Krishna. He looks like he's a two-armed person, basically like I've seen before. Of course, he's very beautiful, but in our material conditioned state, we might not understand. It might be difficult to see. How can the supreme unlimited Lord be here in this world doing apparently mundane things? And so if we can grasp the transcendental nature of Krishna's appearance and activities, then you get an amazing result, which this verse will describe. So stay tuned. Janma karma cha me divyam evam yo veti tattvata tyaktva deham punar janma naiti mam eti sojuna. A few people can recite, please. Janma karma cha me divyam evam yo veti tattvata Sarjuna. Janma karma cha me divyam evam yo veti tattvata tattvadeham punarjanma naiti mameti sarjuna. Janma karma cha me divyam evam yo veti tattvata punarjanma naiti mameti sarjuna. Janma karma cha me divyam evam yo veti tattvata tyaktva deham punarjanma naiti mameti sarjuna. Thank you all very much. We can do the synonyms together. Janma, birth, karma, work, cha, also, me, mine, divyam, transcendental, evam, like, ya, anyone who, viti, knows, tattvata, in reality, tyaktva, leaving aside, deham, this body, puna, again, janma, birth, na, never, iti, does attain, mam, unto me, iti, does attain, sa, he, Arjuna, O Arjuna. Translation together, please. One who knows the transcendental nature of my appearance and activities does not, upon leaving the body, take his birth again in this material world, but attains my eternal abode, O Arjuna. So that's an amazing result of such a seemingly simple thing, right? You just understand that Krishna's coming to this world, his activities in this world are transcendental. That's it. If you get that, you understand everything, and you can go back to the spiritual world. That's pretty nice, right? So today is a perfect opportunity for us to explore this topic, because today is the day of Krishna's Janma, That's why it's called Janmashtami. So we can begin to really pray. We can't understand with our intelligence. But by Krishna's kindness, he can reveal to us some of the transcendental nature of his appearance. So we'll read Srila Prabhupada's purport. Would someone like to read? Yes, go ahead, Nico. Please with the microphone.
The Lord's descent from his transcendental abode is already explained in the 6th verse. One who can understand the truth of the appearance of the personality of Godhead is already liberated from material bondage, and therefore he returns to the kingdom of God. Therefore he returns to the kingdom of God immediately after quitting his present material body. Such liberation of the living entity from material bondage is not easy at all. The impersonalists and the yogis attain liberation only after much trouble and many, many births. Even then, the liberation they achieve, merging into the impersonal Brahmir Yogti of the Lord, is only partial, and there is a risk of returning to this material world. But the devotee, simply by understanding the transcendental nature of the body and activities of the Lord, attains the abode of the Lord. After ending this body, he does not run the risk of returning to this material world.
Yeah, go ahead.
In the Brahma Samhita, it is stated that the Lord has many, many forms and incarnations. Advaitam, Achyutam, Anandim, Anantarupam. Although there are many transcendental forms of the Lord, there are still one and the same Supreme Personality of Godhead. One has to understand the fact with conviction. Although it is incomprehensible to mundane scholars and empiric philosophers, as stated in the Vedas,
Eko devo nityalila nurakto bhakta vyapi vidyantaratma. And someone else? Can you? Por favor.
The one Supreme Personality of Godhead is eternally engaged in many, many transcendental forms in relationships with his unalloyed devotees. This Vedic version is confirmed in this verse of the Gita personally by the Lord. He who accepts this truth on the strength of the authority of the Vedas and of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and who does not waste time in philosophical speculations, attains the highest perfectional stage of liberation. Simply by accepting this truth on faith, one can, without a doubt, attain liberation. The Vedic version, Tat Tvamasi, is actually applied in this case. Anyone who understands Lord Krishna to be the Supreme, or who says unto the Lord, "You are the same Supreme Brahman, the personality of Godhead," is certainly liberated instantly.
Wow.
And consequently, his entrance into the transcendental association of the Lord is guaranteed.
So let's go back and read that, because do you all want to be liberated instantly?
Yes.
Okay. So let's read this together. You are the same Supreme Brahman, the personality of Godhead. End of quote. Okay, thank you.
In other words, such a faithful devotee of the Lord attains perfection, and this is confirmed by the following Vedic assertion.
Eva vidit vatimrityumeti nanya pantha vidyate yanaya. Okay, another reader? Gayatri is, oh, okay. Okay, sure, Rasika Prabhu, please.
One can attain the perfect stage of liberation from birth and death simply by knowing the Lord, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and there is no other way to achieve this perfection. Svetashvatara Upanishad 3.8. That there is no alternative means that anyone who does not understand Lord Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead is surely in the mode of ignorance, and consequently he will not attain salvation simply, so to speak, by licking the outer surface of the bottle of honey, or by interpreting the Bhagavad Gita according to mundane scholarship. Such empiric philosophers may assume very important roles in the material world, but they are not necessarily eligible for liberation. Such puffed up mundane scholars have to wait for the causeless mercy of the devotee of the Lord. One should therefore cultivate Krishna consciousness with faith and knowledge, and in this way attain perfection.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Okay, so this is a meditation I wanted to encourage all of us to do today, based on this verse and purport, is with faith and knowledge, Prabhupada says at the end, and specifically by receiving the causeless mercy of a devotee of the Lord. If you're a person like me who can get really caught in your mind and trying to intellectually analyze and understand when we're studying, of course we need to turn on our intelligence and try to understand the philosophy. But if we're over-dependent on our own ability to understand, then we are in the category of the puffed up mundane scholar, and we won't be able to understand Krishna until we receive the causeless mercy of a devotee of the Lord. So on this day, I keep coming back to saying we should pray that Krishna will reveal to us the transcendental nature of his birth, his appearance, and his activities. So how do we receive that causeless mercy of the devotees and of Krishna? Yes, Nico. By being fearless. How does being fearless give you the mercy of devotees and Krishna? Nice. Okay, so there's an aspect of fear when we're going into the unknown. And so when we start this bhakti process, and when we try to take steps further and further towards Krishna, we don't know what's going to happen. So there's fear. This is kind of what you're saying, right? Okay. And ultimately, at the highest stage, pure love of Krishna, unconditional love of Krishna, ashlishiva paragatam pinashtava, adarshanan marmahatam karotuva, yatha tatha va vedadatulam tato mat prananatas tu saeva napara. This is Srimati Radharani's prayer, which Lord Chaitanya repeats in the end of the Shikshashtakam, his 8 verses he left behind. And he's describing pure love, prema, and it means unconditional. And that's scary, right? Unconditional love is scary. Why is unconditional love scary? Yes, Nico. Thank you.
Unconditional love is scary because it kind of like breaks our belief systems and like what we, what we tell ourselves, like it's like a daily reprieve, like a daily renewal, like unconditional love.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, it's scary because like sometimes I don't know where it comes from, and I want to control that fact, and I want things to be my way, but. But if I just like let go, I realize that like it's already naturally in my way. So
okay, those are some really good points. Yeah, we want to control, we want things to go our way. Yeah, thank you, Christine.
Unconditional love, to kind of like go off of that, unconditional love kind of like breaks the cycle of karma, right? Because we always expect we're going to do something and then something is going to happen. There's like an action and then there's a reaction. But in unconditional love, it's like that love is there no matter what you do. So if you're in the position where you're expressing unconditional love to someone, that can be scary because you have to be ready to, no matter what they do back to you, to still offer that love. That your feelings are not conditional on what they do. And then if somebody is offering unconditional love to you, that can feel scary because, what Prabhu just said is like, it's like, wow, what I do kind of doesn't matter. So it transcends karma.
Okay, thank you very much. One more quick point and then we'll go on.
Yeah, I mean, the word for me that came to mind during both of them speaking was trust. Trust is how we can develop fearlessness, but we have to learn to trust Krishna.
Yes, right. Okay, great point. So on this day, the meditation I'm proposing is try to pray to Krishna and try to develop the right mood and activities so that we can receive that mercy of Krishna. And to receive that mercy, then we have to become a little fearless. We have to trust that when we give to Krishna without expecting anything in return, then he will give us exactly what we need. Not exactly what we desire necessarily, but he'll give us perfectly what we need. And we've been hurt so many times in the material world in our relationships that we naturally have some resistance in trusting, and we've got this fear because we fear that we'll be hurt again. If I open myself up to serving Krishna without expecting anything, without considering my needs, then what if I'm hurt again? So we have doubts that hold us back. We have fears that hold us back. We have bad habits and wrong ideas that hold us back. And so on this day, we can pray to Krishna and we can try to serve in such a way that we're not asking Krishna for anything. We're just saying, Krishna, I just want to rebuild my relationship with you. I don't understand you. I'm struggling with all these things that are holding me back, but I want to understand better. I want to come closer to you on this day. Please show me, help me understand just even a little glimpse of the reason you appear in this world and how amazing it is that you, the unlimited supreme person, who are totally self-sufficient, you don't need to come here in this world where there's so much suffering and so many unnecessary things. You don't need to come here. We rejected Krishna, and yet out of his unlimited kindness, he comes to bring us back to him. So on this day, we can try to reflect, Krishna comes into this world for me. Isn't that amazing? Everyone here in the room, Krishna is coming specifically to help you. He's here in the form of the Bhagavad Gita. He's here in the form of the deity. He's here in the form of his name. He's here giving you kindness through his devotees. Anything that happens which is wonderful in your life, that's Krishna. Anything that happens that's apparently not wonderful, that's also Krishna. And everything he's doing just to change our wrong desires and help us desire him. Like Prabhupada was saying in the purport during Madhava Prabhu's class, most of us don't even want to go back to Godhead. But Krishna, he wants us to go back to Godhead more than we can possibly imagine. And he's helping us in every possible way. Every second of every day, Krishna is in pain, thinking, oh my Kunti, oh my Radhika, oh my Advaita, where are you? He's wanting his devotees to come back. So this day also can be a day to set the intention for the next year of practice in Krishna consciousness and set ourselves up for the right mood and pray to Krishna that we can spend this next year serving him in a more selfless way, in trying to be in a prayerful mood, in a service mood, in a way that will please his devotees and will please him, and then we can receive that mercy by which we can actually understand him. So these are a few thoughts on my proposed meditation for your Janmashtami day. I'd like to read God Who Dances, with your permission. Would you all like to hear some amazing poetry about the Supreme Lord? Okay. So if you please open your book to page 79. Shruti said we can go a little bit late, maybe till around 8:40, 8:45. 8:31, okay. Let's read chapter 1. Would anybody like to volunteer to read? Okay, Nico. How about let's take turns reading a page each? Christina will read? Okay. Let's just read a page and then rotate. So Nico, then Christina, then we'll find another volunteer.
Is it Devaki and Vasudev?
Yes, Devaki and Vasudev, the overburdened earth.
The overburdened earth said, Vishnurata, Sukadeva, you're now described for me, the moon god and the sun god and their resplendent dynasties. The moon god's line, great sage, includes the Yadu family. The dynasty of Krishna, would you speak about him, please? Who wouldn't want to hear about these pastimes of the Lord? Just those, I think, bewildered, broken-hearted, or so bored. They choose to merge into the void, committing suicide, or spend their lives as butchers, selling gristle, flesh, and hide. Lord Krishna saved my grandfather, Arjuna, in the war. Lord Krishna saved my mother and allowed me to be born. Lord Krishna is the universe, yet lives within our hearts, lives within our hearts. I have so many questions about Krishna. Where to start? Why did the Lord leave Vasudeva and live in Nanda's home? Why did he kill King Kamsa and usurp Mathura's throne? When Kamsa, after all, was Krishna's king and relative, and why did Krishna later shift to Devaki to live, Devraka to live?
Lord Krishna has a form of endless bliss, I understand, yet he lived with his family like any common man. Did he live long in Dwarka, an oft-wedded groom? Why was his brother born out of another mother's womb? Oh, Master, you know everything of Krishna, do you not? Please clarify these mysteries and others I forgot. I vowed to fast from food and drink will surely make me weak, unless I drink the Krishna nectar flowing as you speak.
So take a note here. If you're having trouble today with fasting, remember, if we drink the Krishna nectar, then we can be relieved from the fasting. So if you're having trouble, do some kirtan, do some japa, go talk to a devotee about what you've been reading. Open Prabhupada's books and start to read them. And see yourself relieved from the challenge of hunger and thirst.
Shukadev Goswami replied, your urge to hear of Krishna has made you the best of kings. Just as the touch of Ganges water purifies all things, the person who inquires of Krishna cleans the atmosphere, for he who gives the answers and for everyone who hears. At one time, Mother Earth was overburdened by the weight of armies ruled by godless kings who thrived on greed and hate. So Earth assumed the body of a cow in desperation and told the senior god, Brahma, about her situation. Brahma, Shiva, and other gods, distressed by Earth's report, at once went off to Vishnu's world, their ultimate resort. Arriving at the milk ocean whereon the Lord resides, they worshipped him with heartfelt hymns until the Lord replied,
With a deep voice.
I've been aware of Earth's misfortune, listen well to me. Lord Krishna soon shall grace the Earth's famous Yadu dynasty. His older brother Balaram shall join the Lord as well, and all you gods and all your wives should do the same yourselves. My power to bewilder, Yogamaya, who can cast a spell of deep illusion over all who cross her path, shall also join the entourage of Krishna when he comes. Now go, prepare yourselves for birth among the Yadu sons. Brahma returned to his abode, and all the gods began establishing themselves as members of the Yadu clan. The capital of Yadu's kingdom, Mathura by name, had flourished with its current king, the pious Ugrasen.
Thank you, okay. All right, so Mother Earth was distressed, and she went and asked Lord Brahma for help. And Lord Brahma goes to Vishnu himself, and he says, don't worry, I'm coming soon. And all of you demigods, you come to the world and you prepare for my appearance in the world. And so now we'll hear about, I think we'll skip ahead and go to when Krishna actually appears in the prison of Kamsa. So what happens is that Kamsa, who's the tyrant king at the time, he gets an omen from the sky which says, the eighth son of Devaki will kill you. And so he immediately is going to kill his own sister, Devaki. But fortunately, her husband, Vasudev, convinces him, no, please wait. I'll give you all of my sons and you can do what you like with them. And so Kamsa then, he goes and kills one son after the next. He imprisons Devaki and Vasudev, and while they're in prison, he takes all their children and kills them. And then the demigods come to the prison to pray because they know that Krishna himself is coming. And so we will now hear the birth, the appearance of Lord Krishna in that womb. So we need someone who can be little Krishna. Okay, we need a narrator also. Who wants to be narrator and who wants to be little Krishna? She really wants to be little Krishna. Okay, narrator, go ahead. So on page 87, it's called The Birth of Lord Krishna. It starts at text 59 to 61.
One pleasant evening, earth seemed bathed in happiness and love. The sacred constellation Rohini appeared above, with other stars and planets twinkling in the cloudless sky. The universe itself seemed pleasing, still and satisfied. The moonlit Mother Earth displayed her pastures, mines and towns. In fragrant trees, the birds and bees sang out their pleasing sounds. The rivers poured clear water into reservoirs and lakes where lotuses and lilies bloomed, appearing wide awake. The Brahmins rose before the dawn, took bath, and set alight to their sacrificial fires in accord with Vedic rites. Across the lakes and pastures, silky, fragrant breezes came. They pleased the Brahmins tending fires, but didn't spoil the flames. The Brahmins, who had suffered much from Kamsa and his men, began to feel tranquility pervade their hearts again. The higher worlds resounded with the sounds of kettle drums as gods peered down at earth, expecting Krishna soon would come. While gods threw flowers, danced and sang in heavenly enclaves, assembling clouds made thundering sounds like gentle ocean waves. Then Vishnu, he who dwells within the hearts of you and me, appeared as if a full moon from the heart of Devaki. In his 4 hands the child held lotus, chakra, conch, and club. His bangled arms and jeweled ears and helmet placed above his scattered hair set off his yellow silks and blue-black skin. And there around his neck was hung the famed Kaustubha gem. As Vasudev beheld the child, he thought his eyes had failed. How could the Lord, so nicely dressed, be born inside a jail? The father could not celebrate, though he was much inclined, so he gave out 10,000 cows within his joyous mind. On seeing the child's effulgence lit the dismal cell, the awestruck Vasudev felt peace, his worries all dispelled. He joined his palms and bowed his head, and then, though it seemed strange, began with wife and newborn son the following exchange.
Okay, so we need a Vasudev and a Devaki. Devaki? Just kidding. Vasudev and a Devaki? Okay. And this one you can sing.
Primeval, transcendent, ubiquitous Lord, I see your position as never before. You made the creation, and yet as its God, you're here as our Son by your sweet facade. Your powers create everything that we see, yet they are distinct and complete potencies. You too are distinct from this world you have made, yet my confused eyes see you clearly today. My Lord, you are adored in the finest of rooms. Why come in a jail through a prisoner's womb? O Master of all, I can safely presume, since you have arrived, cruel Kamsa is doomed.
The Almighty Lord, not less you have come, within your creation as bright as the sun. The Vedas exalt you and all you arrange, no one could outvoice you or force you to change. The common man longs for the heavenly skies, and freedom from illness, old age, and demise. When you appear, death itself runs away, and we all feel peaceful, no longer afraid. As Kamsa still persecutes good people, please defeat all the fears of sincere devotees, and cover this form which adored by the wise from envious evil materialize. Your four-ended form doesn't fit in this world. I should have a two-handed boy or girl. No one will think Vishnu could come from my womb. Please change and I'll hide you, the guards will come soon.
Thank you.
My dear mother, now please be blessed. Among chaste women you are best. Let me now put your mind at rest. Let your heart fill with happiness. Long ago in a former life, you were still Vasudeva's wife. Though Brahma said to procreate, you first sat down to meditate. Both of you sat through heat and cold, hearts made perfect by self-control. I was pleased, so I asked you to say what you wanted me to do. All you wanted, you said humbly, was the boon of a son like me. Twice I came as your son back then, here today I have come again. Had I come as a normal boy, would your faith have been unalloyed? Still I'm yours, and since you love me, when you die you will come to me.
So sweet, thank you. Okay, narrator, finish this chapter.
Lord Vishnu then fell silent, and before his parents' eyes, his figure changed from Vishnu to a child of normal size. Reclining in his legendary transcendental form, he showed himself as baby Krishna, smiling, bright, and warm. Then Yogamaya took her birth, just as Lord Krishna planned, across the river Yamuna in Nanda's rural land. When Yashoda, King Nanda's wife, gave birth that mystic night, exhausted from her labor, she slept on, her eyes shut tight. By Yogamaya's influence, the guards in Kamsa's jail, not hearing sounds of childbirth, not a whimper, sob, or wail, fell fast asleep as well, and could not see nor hear a sound. At this, the gates swung open, and their locks fell to the ground. When thundering clouds let out their rain as gently as they could, a mystic serpent sheltered man and son with many hoods. As Vasudeva, the huge white snake, and babe of blackish blue snuck quickly past the sleeping guards, King Kamsa slept on too. The swirling river Yamuna, made deeper by the showers, came to a halt and made a path by Yogamaya's powers. The river welcomed Vasudeva, lest Krishna should be lost, just as the Indian Ocean once allowed Lord Ram to cross. When Vasudeva reached Nanda's house, where everybody slept, he found the room of Yashoda and pondered his next step. In hopes that even Kamsa would not kill a newborn daughter, he switched the babes and ran at once back through the swirling waters. Back past the sleeping guards he slipped, through every open door. He chained himself and Devaki in shackles as before. He placed the girl by Devaki, who looked at her and smiled, while Yashoda, asleep, knew not the gender of her child.
Thank you. A hand for all the readers. Thank you. So this is just one little snippet. There's much more. And these books are always living in the closet right here. You can go read more today if you like. It's a really easy way to read Bhagavatam, a really fun way to do it. So you'll hear more about Krishna's appearance later this evening at Alachua, and take some time today if you have free time to hear some lectures or read more of this, talk with other devotees, and keep the nectar flowing so you stay relieved from the fasting. So any comments, questions, next 5 or so minutes before we finish? Nico, and then Gayatri, and then Govind.
I'd just like to read a poem I wrote for Krishna like a couple of days ago.
Let's hear it.
It's a short poem. I use my ears to hear your magical voice, as it fills me far more than any career choice. Your prema is the only thing I strive to afford. In the middle of the ocean of bliss, I'm drunk and aboard, drunken from your perfect purpose, to navigate with your precious devotees, steering clear of misery and hurting, on track to self-realization the dreams we're holding. The sacred, blessed human experience is meant to be used wisely, wise as in the following the heart's persistence, to practically extend ourselves selflessly, the feelings in the body, exalted from the heels to my knees, waist, my belly, elbows, and eyes. You activate my prana that adds fuel to my wheels and gouges my sockets to make my energy rise.
Thank you very much. He's got poetry just flowing out of his heart. Amazing. Okay, Gayatri, you had something to share? Wonderful narrator. Thank you very much.
I had a question actually. So, when Prema was speaking the part of Baby Vishnu, or so what he explained to Devaki, like he said, had I come as a normal boy, would your faith have been unalloyed? So I feel like in most stories I hear the Lord is testing the devotee's faith, and so here, like, why is he telling her everything, and then telling her that he's doing this for her? Like, why would he not test that? I don't know. I feel like I've read a lot of stories where, he tests the devotee's faith. He doesn't really show himself and then proclaim, this is what happened in your past life, and this is why I'm here. Like,
well, my understanding is that it's a different situation because Devaki is a pure devotee. And so he's not trying to test her faith here. But perhaps someone can speak more on the question. Maybe Advaita Prabhu. I don't know conclusively. Why give them all this information? Well, aren't there other instances where Krishna gives the information of the devotee's journey back to him? Like there's a story called the Brihat Bhagavatamrita, and Krishna reunites with his devotee, Nanda. What's his name? Gopakumar. And Krishna's like, I missed you so much while you were away in the material world. So it's not the only instance that I know of. But yeah, I'm not sure conclusively. Why not give the information? Yeah. Okay.
Said maybe in a prison, like it's not been the best of circumstances, so telling them like of good times before, like what they did before. So yeah, like what did the Prabhu said, to encourage them. That things have been very nice in the past, and things will become.
It's part of the plan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So just
okay.
be rest assured.
Okay. Nice. Right. Yeah. Thank you all. Okay. Final point from Govinda.
I was curious when we said, Krishna, you are the Supreme Personality of God, the Supreme Brahman. I didn't feel liberated. What happened?
Why didn't we get liberated? Well, you have to stay in a liberated state by practicing continually. So we can say it one time and yes, you're liberated, like when you chant Hare Krishna, totally liberated. We have to continue in that state. Yeah, we don't feel it. We're very covered over with material conditioning. So it can be hard to feel it. That's the best I can say. Yes.
Haribol. I was actually thinking, on that point too, and I was wondering if maybe it says you have to say it to the Lord, and I was wondering maybe like you have to be directly in His presence when you're making that statement. Not that we're not, if we're in front of His image or His name, but it may have been very.
We are directly in front of Him when He's here in the deity form, here in the form of Bhagavatam. I was thinking maybe the missing aspect is sincerity. Is we have to real conviction. Whereas you can say it, you can just recite, okay, yeah. Like you go to church and you say, "Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name," and you just kind of ritualistically do it. If we do it with feeling, it's different. Okay, last 2 points, if they're brief.
Think of a thought that I had, because Prabhupada says that all the devotees in the Krishna conscious movement are already liberated. And when I read that, I was confused, and then I thought, well, if Krishna is time, then us being already liberated just means that, like, time in our conception doesn't really exist, but in Krishna's conception of time, in higher conception of time, it's already happened. It's like
Like, okay, I think there's a verse, Mam Chayo Vyabhicharana Bhakti Yogine Sevate Sagunan Samatitya Brahma Bhuyaya Kalpate, that if you fully engage in devotional service, then unfailing in all circumstances, then you transcend the material modes and come to the level of Brahman, the liberated state. And then when you're in the liberated state, what do? You do bhakti. Bhakti is the post-liberation activity. So by practicing bhakti, then we automatically are beyond even liberation. So that's the understanding that I can share. Shruti, there's a lot of devotees who want to share. Should we let them? Okay. Okay, Amrita. And then, Arjun, did you still want to share?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I was gonna say that liberation will come, but it will take time because Krishna is not cheap. We've been here for a long time. We can't even remember anything. So since we've been here so long, we forget many things in this life, let alone how many lives we've been before. So we cannot remember what Krishna remembers. But the thing is that that is not important. The important thing is to keep on following the footsteps of the Vaishnavas and our spiritual masters and Krishna.
Thank you. So it'll take time. Yeah. Okay.
I just remember that verse when we were usually doing Achman or before Pujari services, the Om Apavitra, Pavitra Va. And in that verse it says that whether you're pure or impure, if you just remember Krishna, right, say Krishna's name, in that moment you are pure. And so each moment when you just think of Krishna, remember Krishna, say Krishna's name, and in those moments we are liberated. And then eventually we reach this stage in our life where constantly 24/7 we will be thinking of Krishna. And that's really full liberation. So
Nice.
we have these moments of liberation that we experience and hope to have hope.
Yeah, we need to stay in that by continually practicing bhakti. Yeah, nice. Okay, take us home, Advaita Prabhu.
No pressure. I heard our only problem is the forgetfulness. So imagine you are under amnesia. So somebody comes, wakes you up, but you are like so accustomed, as everybody was saying. We've been here for a while, and immediately we forget. So yeah, we become liberated, but then the next moment we get pulled back. So constantly forgetting, and that's why this chanting is such an intense practice of chanting Hare Krishna over and over again, trying to spiritually awake. Another example was given, even spiritual master, when you get initiated, all your karma is gone. So that example of a fan. spiritual master unplugs the fan, but the fan is still spinning for some time due to inertia of the speed that has been spinning in a full force. So it might take some time. We only have to make sure that we don't plug the fan back in. That also creates a problem, because then the fan starts spinning again.
Thank you. Yeah. Or another analogy is you're driving down the highway at 80 miles an hour and you want to go the other direction. You can't just immediately get to the other side. You've got to slow down, take the exit. So, thank you. Shoot, you told me 5 minutes. I guess we have 5 more minutes. So let's go on.
Oh, one more thing, so I don't forget. This is not question or answer related, but at 7 o'clock, she didn't want anybody to know, but some of you already know. Tulasya is getting her second at 7 p.m. at the Alachua temple.
Okay.
So she's not here, but it would be nice that we're all there and support her as much as we can. Yes.
Great. Thank you. Okay, Christina.
I think it comes down to free will. We always have the prerogative to decide what we want to believe, right? You can have something, people can tell you something is true. There can be a lot of evidence that something is true, but you don't actually have to believe it. Like, that is up to you, right? There are people who believe that the earth is flat. There's a lot of evidence, scientific evidence. There's a lot of people who say, well, no, the earth is round or whatever, but it's up to them. It's ultimately up to them. And so it is ultimately up to us as to what we believe. We can have people tell us that, Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and that knowledge is inherently liberating, which is like logically true, and we can say it, but maybe somebody can even like force us to say it or convince us to say it, but ultimately you always have that right, that privilege, that birthright of saying, yes, I believe this, or no, I don't believe this. That's always, Krishna will always make sure that you have that, and he's never going to impose on that. So for me, when it's like, oh, well, you can say this and immediately become liberated, but then, why don't I feel liberated? You got to really look inside yourself and think about, well, do I believe this? Because that is what, because that's the part that counts. It's not just saying it. It's about whether you have that faith and that belief.
Thank you. Our class is dwindling quickly. Yes.
Yeah, when it says you're instantly liberated, it could mean like, the ball is rolling. It's just time separating. The ball's already set.
Kunti was saying.
Pretty much what Brihat was saying, and also about understanding the nature of Krishna's appearance guarantees liberation or going back to Godhead or whatever. Usually it's understood that if you actually understand something, you act on it. So you have to act on it.
Okay. Yeah, right. You can just say, I believe the whole Bhagavad Gita. If you've never even read it, or if you don't understand it, what does it mean to say, yes, I believe? Thank you. Are there any more points? Perhaps we should close off. Thank you all very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Have a wonderful Janmashtami.